Okay. Hopefully you guys are starting to get a picture of how I work. I'm methodical, I'm tidy. I always think that you should hoover up and tidy as you go. It achieves two things. Obviously, a clean site is a happy site. Everybody can then work safely because once there's loads of rubbish and stuff just cluttering up, it becomes a very dangerous area to work in. And obviously as well, all that dust you're breathing in is not good for you. Every time a door opens or something drops, all the dust gets kicked back up in the air. And once the dust gets up into the air, it takes a long time for it to settle down again. I mean, I don't know if you ever noticed that if you leave a site and come back the next day, there's always a very thin film of dust everywhere that's settled overnight. So my solution, it's not when I say my solution, my idea is that I hoover as I go. Prevention's better than cure. If we stop it getting into the air, then it's not there, you're not breathing it in constantly. And as I always say, the thing that everybody always remembers is how clean and tidy you were. Once all this stuff's done and it's in the wall, painted, decorated, all they see is a socket and a switch. They don't understand the work that's gone into that. They won't remember, but they will remember how clean and tidy you were. So, clean site's a happy site. Cleanliness is close to godliness, as they say. Okay, not that I believe that much in God, but there you go. The universe, I believe in the universe. Right, okay, so the reason I'm recording this one, it's a brick wall this time, so it's going to take a bit more to chisel it out than the Thermalite blocks. Here I've got a joist that I can see, it's about here and here. So this line here with the screws in is the centre of the joist. So I need to stay away from that. I'll put that box in. If I come out of here, the one I prefer to come out of, which is far enough away from this earthing screw, I've got plenty of space. So I'm just going to knock that out of there. Put that in there. Laser level. Just to make sure. Now, that's interesting. I actually need to drop that down a bit. How does that happen? Let me check that over there. Make sure the laser level hasn't moved. Okay, so we're fine that side. Okay. Something actually moved over this side, so while I'm chasing this one out, I am going to have to gun that out a bit. In fact, I can see there's a lump in the middle. So once I take that lump out, this will drop down. I might even be able to do that by hand. Let's do that first then. And then I'll do the other bit. Yeah, let's do that. Right. You definitely need goggles for brickwork because it will chip out and spring out. Right, so I don't know if you can see there's a lump there. Level. So the corners are clear, but I've got this lump that I just need to chisel out. I wonder if I can show that with a pencil. I don't know if you can see that, possibly. That's where I need to get to. Gloves. border. So what I was doing there with my bolster, and back in the day when I was training, it wasn't quite rule plug stages, but we didn't have the chisel hammer, the hammer lock, shall I say. So everything was done by bolster. So I always, when I have an apprentice that first starts, before I give them this to start running around like a machine gun and start making big holes everywhere, I always get them to practice with this, because it does two things. It slows them down, it gets them thinking about what they're doing. And I always say that you need to have different hats in this game. So, if I'm doing carpentry, I try and think like a carpenter. If I'm doing brickwork, I try to think of like someone, a brickworker that's chipping away, stonemason, that's the word I'm looking for, stonemason, chipping away. Obviously I know I'm not trying to say that I am, but that's how I try and think. What would a stonemason do? So I try and break out little bits, chipping. So you'll notice that when I start at the front and I sort of work my way back and let the chisel do all the work, and then when I get to the back, I make it all nice and tight and crisp. And I actually get a really good finish with this. The reason I use this is because it's a lot quicker, it's a lot faster, but the finish isn't as great. With this, I can get it absolutely perfect. I mean, what I might do is kind of zoom it in, and you can kind of see the bit that I've done by hand and the bit that was done with the gun, and you'll see the difference. In fact, let's do that now. Okay. So you'll see up here, this is what was done with the gun. You can see it's a bit rough, a bit ready. Not very flat. Whereas down here, because I'm doing it by hand, it's a lot smoother. And also, when you're breaking this stuff out, remember to get your fingers in the corners and get the dust out, because even a little tiny amount of dust, can stop the box sitting back properly. And you'll be chasing, and it'll just be something small, like a bit of dust like that that's stopping it from sitting back. So what you can see there, that is the frog of the brick. If I was going any deeper, that would just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So when I'm drilling out these holes, I need to be aware that the frog is there, and I might need to get some sand and cement in there to actually try and make that sturdier. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, and you can see as well now that I've got it zoomed in, brought it down to this level, that I don't know what happened before. In fact, it's still a bit of a rock. Bring it back up, there's still a bit of a rock there, it's not quite perfect, but I've actually got a finger in the top now. So somehow, I had it like that before, somehow, even with the laser level, I've ended up a bit a bit higher than what it should have been. Now I've got this big gap at the top. Lucky enough it's being plastered, but you know what they say, measure twice, cut once. Somewhere along the line, even with the laser level, I made a mistake. Thankfully though, it's not going to come back to haunt me. Right, let's put this back up here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put this box in. I've knocked my knockout out. That's where it's going to sit, roughly. I'm not aiming for too much, but all I want to do is just mark the edge of the box, which pretty much is on the edge of that brick. And then I'm going to use that as a guide to drill this down. Oh, and because this is in brickwork, I'm going to have to stitch drill this, or I could actually get my chase machine out. What to do? What to do? I think I'm going to get my chase machine out for this because it'll just give a much nicer, crisper cut. If I was going to do this with chisel and drill, I would stitch drill this all the way down, exactly as I do with the sockets, keeping them about 5mm apart all the way down, and then I would use this 80mm chisel to square that off all the way down, working in between the lines. What I want to do though, I'm going to use my chase machine. I'm going to cut that down, so I'm just going to pause the video and then I'll come back once I've got that set up.